What really makes a great leader? I mean, is it just about giving orders, or is there something deeper, like a way of seeing things, anticipating what's coming?
Yeah, and maybe even turning weaknesses into strengths, right?
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's ancient, sure, but it's not just military history.
Not at all. It's surprisingly relevant.
Our mission here is to uh, unpack the core ideas from these old strategies and see how they actually apply today,
Hmm.
for challenges you might face at work or even just big personal decisions.
And to kick things off, there's this, well, legendary story about Sun Tzu himself. It's quite something.
Oh, the one with the concubines.
That's the one. So the king of Wu wanted to test Sun Tzu. He asked him to drill his palace concubines, 180 of them.
Right. Not exactly seasoned soldiers.
Not even close. So Sun Tzu divides them into two groups, puts the king's favorites in charge of each. Then he explains the drill commands really clearly. Eyes front, left turn, right turn, about turn. I'm sure they get it.
Okay, seems straightforward enough.
Yeah,
But here's where it gets interesting.
it really does. He gives the command, right turn. And the women, they just start laughing.
They didn't take it seriously at all.
Nope. So he repeats the command, left turn this time. Same reaction, more laughter, total disobedience.
Uh-oh. What does Sun Tzu do?
Well, his response was immediate and frankly pretty chilling. He said basically, if the commands aren't clear, if the orders aren't understood, okay, that's the general's fault.
Right, take responsibility.
But, he continued, if the orders are clear and the soldiers still disobey, then it's the fault of their officers.
And the officers were the king's favorites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he ordered them executed on the spot.
Wow. Just like that. What did the king say? He must have freaked out.
Oh, he did. He was watching and sent a message immediately saying, look, I'm satisfied with your skills. Please spare them. My food won't taste right without them. Basically pleading.
But Sun Tzu wasn't having it.
Not at all. His reply was firm, something like, I've received my commission as general. In that role, there are some commands from your majesty I cannot accept.
He stood his ground, even against the king.
He did. The two concubines were executed, new leaders appointed, and then,
Then what happened?
the next time the drums sounded for the drill, the remaining women performed every single move perfectly. Turning, marching, kneeling, total precision, not a sound uttered.
That's intense. A brutal lesson in discipline and the consequences of unclear rules or disobedience.
Absolutely. It's extreme, yeah, and definitely not modern management advice, but it vividly shows Sun Tzu's focus on clarity, discipline, and the absolute necessity of following established command. It sets the tone.
It really does. So, okay, beyond this shocking story, what does it mean for you listening now? We're going to unpack how these ideas, discipline, clear communication, leadership, are actually timeless.
Yeah, they apply way beyond the battlefield.
So, building on that dramatic opener, let's unpack this idea of discipline and the general's role. Sun Tzu saw this whole art of war as, well, vital, a road either to safety or to ruin. What did he see as the core factors for success?
He laid out these 5 constant factors, really fundamental things a leader has to grasp. The first one is moral law.
Moral law. What does that mean exactly?
It's about alignment. Getting the people to be in accord with their ruler so they follow him no matter what without fear. It's about shared purpose, deep buy-in.
Okay, so it's not just blind obedience, it's like genuine unity. Like with the concubines, once the stakes were clear and the new leaders knew their roles, they acted as one.
Precisely. It's that deep accord. Then you have heaven and earth.
Heaven and earth. Sounds a bit mystical.
Not really mystical, more environmental. Heaven covers things like time of day, weather, season, the big external factors you can't control. Earth is the actual ground. Distances, dangers, open ground, narrow passes, the physical landscape.
So understanding your operating environment, like in business, that could be market trends, the economy, maybe even the actual locations you operate in.
Exactly. You have to know the conditions you're working under. Then number 3 is the commander.
The leader themselves.
Right. Sun Tzu lists virtues: wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. It's interesting, he mixes traditional civic virtues with military ones like courage and strictness.
So it's not just about being smart or nice. You also need guts and the ability to enforce discipline.
That's the idea. It's a whole package. And the last 2 factors are method and discipline.
Okay, what does that cover?
This is more operational. How the army is organized, the ranks, supply lines, managing expenses, basically having your house in order, clear processes, roles, good logistics.
Like the practical nuts and bolts of running things efficiently.
Exactly. Sun Tzu said, knowing these five leads to victory, ignoring them leads to failure. Simple as that, really.
It's amazing how those ancient factors map onto modern leadership. Understanding your team's moral law, their buy-in, or the terrain of your market. It makes sense. But what happens when a leader doesn't get these fundamentals?
Well, Sun Tzu points out 3 ways a ruler can bring misfortune upon his army. Mistakes leaders make.
Okay, like what?
First, hobbling the army. That's commanding an advance or retreat when you don't understand the situation on the ground, giving orders in ignorance.
Like a disconnected leader making calls from afar without knowing the reality. That creates friction.
Huge friction. Second is governing an army like a kingdom. Applying, say, bureaucratic rules where you need flexibility and speed. Or the other way around. Using the wrong approach for the context causes restlessness.
So context matters. You can't manage a crisis the same way you manage daily routine.
Precisely. And the third way is employing officers without discrimination. Basically putting the wrong people in the wrong jobs. If your key people aren't competent for their specific roles, it shakes everyone's confidence.
That makes perfect sense. Leads right into Sun Tzu's ideal leader, doesn't it?
It does. He says, the general who advances without coveting fame and retreats without fearing disgrace, whose only thought is to protect his country and do good service for his sovereign, is the jewel of the kingdom.
Wow. So it's about dedication to the mission, not ego. Selfless leadership.
That's the core of it. And it connects to one of his essentials for victory. He will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign.
Meaning, let the expert do their job.
Pretty much. The ruler sets the big picture, the strategy, but the general on the ground makes the tactical calls. Micromanaging from the top is a disaster. You have to empower your people.
Let's shift gears a bit. Sun Tzu famously said, all warfare is based on deception. That sounds, well, harsh. Does he just mean lying?
It's more sophisticated than just lying. It's about perception management, controlling what the opponent sees and believes.
How so?
He talks about playing with an enemy like a cat plays with a mouse, feigning weakness, pretending to be still, then pouncing, simulating disorder or fear to make the enemy overconfident.
Okay, but how do you fake disorder without actually being disordered?
That's the key. Sun Tzu says doing this effectively actually requires perfect discipline, courage, and strength. You need rock-solid internal order and capability to pull off the illusion of weakness. Otherwise, it's not a trick. It's just reality.
So you have to be strong to convincingly look weak. That's fascinating, like that story of the general reducing campfires each night.
Exactly. To make the enemy think his army was shrinking, luring them into an ambush, it required immense discipline to carry out that deception.
That idea of hidden strength behind a deceptive front, it really highlights the need for constant adaptability, doesn't it?
Absolutely central. Sun Tzu compares military tactics to water. Water in its natural course runs away from high places and hastens downwards, meaning you avoid what is strong and strike at what is weak. Water doesn't have a fixed shape, right? It adapts to the container. Similarly, in warfare, there are no constant conditions. The smart leader is always adjusting, always modifying tactics based on the enemy and the situation.
So no rigid plans. It's all about fluid adjustment. That feels incredibly relevant today. Things change so fast.
Totally relevant. He uses this great analogy of the Shuai-Zhan snake. It lived in the Chang Mountains.
Okay, what about this snake?
If you hit its head, the tail strikes back. Hit the tail, the head strikes. Hit the middle. Both the head and tail attack together.
So it symbolizes a unified, flexible force, one that can react instantly from any direction.
Exactly. Total integration, able to pivot and respond cohesively no matter where the pressure comes from. It's about that adaptable, systemic strength.
Beyond the grand strategy and deception, the art of war gets really practical, especially about resources. Sun Tzu seemed very aware of the real costs involved.
Oh, definitely. He's brutally honest about it. He calculates that an army of 100,000 men costs 1,000 ounces of silver per day. That's a huge drain.
And it's not just money, right?
No, it's the human cost, too. He mentions 700,000 families disrupted, unable to work their fields because of the war effort, and long campaigns. They dull weapons, dampen morale, exhaust strength, spend all the treasure.
And while you're getting weaker.
Other rivals might see an opportunity and attack. His point is stark. Cleverness has never been seen associated with long delays. Long wars are just disastrous, no matter how smart you think your plan is. Speed is key.
Which leads to some interesting advice he gives about supplies.
Yeah.
Something about foraging.
Yes. A wise general makes a point of foraging on the enemy.
What does that mean practically? Live off the enemy's land.
Essentially, yes. He calculated that one cartload of enemy supplies is worth 20 of your own because you save the huge effort of transporting yours over long distances.
Wow, 20 to 1. That's a massive difference.
It highlights how critical logistics are. Cripple the enemy's supply lines, use their resources. It preserves your strength while exhausting theirs. It all ties back to the main point of that chapter. In war, then, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. War is serious business, not a thing to be trifled with.
You can see the modern parallel, can't you? Maybe a business entering a market, using existing infrastructure or open source tools instead of building everything from scratch. Foraging to conserve precious capital and time.
That's a great analogy. It's about efficiency, minimizing your own drain, achieving the goal quickly and decisively.
One of the most fascinating parts of the book, I think, is the focus on intelligence. Sun Tzu says the key to victory is foreknowledge. How do you get that? It's not psychic powers, right?
Definitely not. He's very clear.
Yeah.
You don't get it from spirits or calculations alone. It can only be obtained from other men.
Meaning spies.
Exactly. Spies are absolutely critical in his system. It's all about active, deliberate information gathering from human sources.
And he breaks it down, right? He talks about different kinds of spies.
Yes, 5 classes, each with a specific role. First, local spies. These are just inhabitants of the area you hire, people on the ground.
Okay, makes sense. What's next?
Inward spies. These are enemy officials you've managed to recruit. Maybe they're corrupt, maybe disgruntled. They give you inside information.
High risk, high reward, I imagine.
Very. Then you have converted spies. This is clever. You capture the enemy spies and turn them, get them working for you, feeding information back or feeding disinformation to the enemy.
A double cross. That's some serious spycraft. What are the last 2?
Number 4 is doomed spies. These are agents you deliberately give false information to. You let them get caught by the enemy or ensure the enemy finds out the info is false later.
Why would you do that?
To mislead the enemy, fundamentally. These spies are sacrificed, doomed to achieve a larger deception. And finally, number 5 is surviving spies. These are your standard agents who go into the enemy camp, gather real intelligence, and come back alive to report it.
So you've got locals, insiders, double agents, sacrificial pawns, and regular intel gatherers. That's quite a network. How does a general manage all this? Sounds incredibly complex and dangerous.
It requires immense skill. Sun Tzu stresses the general needs a very close, secret relationship with spies. None. More intimate. None. More liberally rewarded. In no other business should greater secrecy be preserved. It has to be mouth-to-ear communication.
And the general needs certain qualities.
Absolutely. Intuitive sagacity, he calls it. Plus benevolence and straightforwardness to manage them properly, and trust, but also discernment to tell truth from lies. You have to be sharp enough not to be fooled by your own spies or by enemy disinformation.
It really sounds like intelligence that foreknowledge is the absolute key. The eyes and ears that allow everything else to function.
Sun Tzu basically says spies are what allow an army to even move intelligently. Without them, you're blind.
Okay, so we've covered leadership, deception, resources, intelligence. Let's talk about the actual ground, the terrain. How important is the physical environment?
Hugely important. Sun Tzu details 6 types of terrain and how to handle each. It's about adapting your tactics to the physical reality.
Can you give us a quick rundown?
Sure, there's accessible ground, easy for both sides. Get there first, take the high, sunny spots, protect your supplies. Entangling ground, easy to leave, hard to get back into. Good for a surprise attack if the enemy's not ready, but dangerous if they are. Temporizing ground where neither side gains by moving first. A potential stalemate.
So you need patience there, maybe?
Could be. Then narrow passes, crucial choke points. You have to occupy them first if you can. Precipitous heights again. Get the high ground first for a commanding view and advantage. And finally, positions at a great distance fighting far from your base is usually a bad idea due to logistics.
So the lesson is, know your ground, adapt your strategy. Don't fight uphill if you don't have to, basically.
That's a good way to put it. Understanding the specific rules of the environment you're in is non-negotiable.
Now, all this leads to Sun Tzu's ultimate aim, doesn't it? It's not just winning, but winning smartly. What did he call supreme excellence?
Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. That's the absolute gold standard.
Winning without a battle. How?
He has a hierarchy. Best is to balk the enemy's plans, stop them before they even start. Next best, prevent the junction of the enemy's forces, isolate them. Only after that comes attacking the enemy's army in the field, and the worst. Besiege walled cities. Terribly costly.
So the goal is control, achieved ideally through strategy, not just brute force.
Exactly. He says the aim is to win his battles by making no mistakes and to conquer an enemy that is already defeated.
Already defeated, what does that mean?
It means the victorious strategist only seeks battle after the victory has been won. They've done the prep, the calculations, the positioning, whereas the loser first fights and afterwards looks for victory. They jump in hoping for the best.
That's powerful. So how do you get into that already won position before the real contest even starts?
Through mastery of what he calls measurement, estimation of quantity, calculation, balancing of chances, and victory. It's about deep analysis. Know the ground, know the enemy's strength, know your own capabilities.
Know the enemy, know yourself.
Right. Knowing the enemy enables you to take the offensive. Knowing yourself enables you to stand on the defensive. Ultimately, you want to force the enemy to spread out. Then you concentrate your superior force against their weaker parts, one by one. Create that imbalance before the fight.
So we've really dug into Sun Tzu's Art of War today. From that intense concubine drill, showing the need for clarity and discipline,
To the nuances of deception, the vital role of intelligence and spies.
and this profound idea of winning without fighting. Looking back at all of it, what do you think is the most enduring takeaway for someone listening now?
For me, it's how truly universal these principles are. Yes, it's a military text, but discipline, adaptability, managing resources wisely, the need for foresight, understanding human psychology, these apply everywhere. Especially that emphasis on winning smartly, avoiding unnecessary conflict, knowing yourself and your opponent, whether that's an competitor, a challenge, or even your own limitations, and using information strategically. That's timeless wisdom.
Absolutely. And maybe a final provocative thought to leave everyone with, straight from Sun Tzu. No ruler should put troops into the field merely to gratify his own spleen. No general should fight a battle simply out of pique.
Acting out of anger or ego.
Right. So the question for you is, where in your life, maybe at work or personally, might you be tempted to act out of spleen or pique, out of frustration, pride, resentment? And how could Sun Tzu's focus on cool, objective strategy